Hey guys, it's SJ. Very happy Baby Name Monday. I'm so excited to share this list with you. It is uber vintage names that are about to make a massive comeback for boys that are making a massive comeback. So what I did is I found the popularity name list. So hello Skylar, my kitten. It's not a baby, it's a kitten. I went back and looked at the popularity lists from 100 years ago, because there's this theory that names have like a 100-year upswing, so after 100 years they come back into style. I found the US and the UK boy name popularity lists, the top 100, and then I cross-referenced them with how they are doing today in the charts and found all of the ones. There's 25 that are literally having their little upswing right now. So these are the names that are like the Arthur of the future. Remember when Arthur was like totally out of style and then just came back 100 years later? You're gonna hear it here first. Some of the names surprised me so much. So I'm gonna go 25 to the least number of places jumped to the one that's gone up the most. And I also found some names that weren't even ranked that have come back on. So these are the 100-year-old boy names making a comeback. Do hit subscribe if you want more name lists like this. I do them every single Monday on YouTube, and the girl version will be next week if you want it. So at number 25, it's the name Marvin. So Marvin only went up 2 spots to number 1,150, but it is going back up again. It was really popular 100 years ago. It's a Welsh origin name, and what I love is the meaning. It means sea friend. So it's sort of like Mervyn, all of those sort of M-E-R, which means sea. So I didn't realise that, and I can see that's getting popular again with a V. It's a really trendy name. Up at number 24, up 6 places to number 91 in the UK charts is the name Alfred. So again, really cool name. I've put it on a few name lists when people want like something different to an Albie, and an Alfred you can then go Freddie. So it is really cool, but not quite back, but it's inside the top 100 now. And it's got a really cool meaning as well, because it means elf council. So really cool, quite Christmassy. We're having a December baby, you could have a little Alfred, and Batman vibes as well. At number 23, at 14 places, to number 298 in the UK chart, so I'm reading my list, is the name Alan. Alan is getting its little upswing 100 years later. Do you have a baby Alan? It's just such a quintessentially granddad name that it's hilarious that it's going back up again at 14 spots now. Really interesting. It actually means precious, so really beautiful. And when you take away sort of associations with Allens that you might have known, like I associated with like my science teacher, but when you take away those associations, it's actually a gorgeous name, isn't it? The L's and the A sounds are really, really popular. Nothing wrong with it as a sounding name, so you can just see how it's going to start shrugging off its granddad vibes and come back into style. At number 22, up 16 places, is the name Chester. So Chester is now at number 84 in the charts. I really liked Chester. I did have it on one of my long lists when I was having a baby. I just really liked it. I thought it sounded quite woody and outdoorsy to me. It actually means camp of soldiers. So quite an unusual name meaning, but then Finn means little soldier. That's what I went with in the end. So it's not an off-putting name meaning, Chester. I'm pretty sure that Holly Willoughby, one of our celebrities here in the UK, has a baby called Chester. Obviously it reminds me of Manchester as well, the place. What do you think of the name Chester? At 21 is the name Billie, just by itself. So that is making its comeback, which I'm not surprised about, because the vintage nickname as first name trend has been around for the last few years, but Billie has gone up quite a lot. It's gone up 18 spots to number 122. Obviously the nickname of William. William's been around for years, it's so traditional, but it's quite interesting to see Billie being used, and it's also such a gender neutral name, which is the #1 most searched name trend is gender neutral. Little top fact. And Billie I love for a girl as well, so really, really interesting. At number 20 is the name Vincent, which went up 19 spots. I've had this recently. We do a podcast called Baby Name Envy, which is real people's dilemmas. So if you're into that, there's a brand new episode. Go and have a listen. I'll link it below. And she had Vincent as the grandparent's name that she wanted to kind of muddle up and make it a bit more modern, but it's actually coming back. So you might regret it, because like I was like that with Arthur, and I'm a bit like, oh, I can't believe I didn't love Arthur when I went with Freddie. Vincent's got up 19 spots to number 126. It actually means to conquer, so like Victor as well, like Vincent. So it's a really interesting name. I can see it coming back up. At number 19, the name Phillip went up 37 places in the charts this year. So 100 years ago there it was, loud and proud in the charts with loads of baby Phillips, little Phils, and it's starting to come back up. So again, do you know a baby Phillip? I know, I've heard of Pip. Maybe that's why people are choosing Phillip and going with Pip. Maybe they're just honouring a loved one, or it's just one of those names again that's not bad sounding when you take away associations with it. It actually really interestingly, like Philippa or Pippa, which is quite popular, means lover of horses. So if you are really into equestria girls, if you're into horses, then it's really nice. And I was thinking how funny that Phillip, because it comes from hippos, meaning horse, and then hippopotamus means horse of the sea. Didn't know that. I had to sort of go on a little side tangent because I was like, how is that possible? But yeah, lover of horses. Phillip is back up the charts at 18. The name Harold, we're getting some big hitters now, went up 107 places last year. Is now at number 1050, Harold. It's actually Scandinavian origin, which I didn't know, and it means army ruler. So a lot of these now become like meaning like swords, armies, things like that. But Harold, what do you think? Would you want to go with Harry but give him a longer name like a Harold? I just can't imagine little baby Harold, but I think I would find it obviously adorable. At number 17, the name Eugene has gone up 107 places this year to number 1150. It is French and it means well-born or noble, Eugene. I really can get on board with this one, Eugene. I think it's so gorgeous and unusual. I like Ernest as well, actually. And I think Eugene really feels quirky, trendy, sort of indie kid a little bit. Eugene, so that's nice to see that coming up. You do get left the nickname Gene. What do you reckon of that? At 16 is the name Edwin, which went up 111 places last year. Do I have where it's got to? I don't, sorry, I'll pop it in the description box. So it means fortunate friend, so Ed, and then anything win, like wine, was friend, so quite nice, like Darwin, dear friend, Edwin. Personally, I'm a huge fan of it. I know I've had it on some of my vintage boy name lists of ones that I just really like. I think like with Edward being so popular, I really do like Ed as a nickname, or Eddie, and I just think Edwin just sounds so cool. And I do know little Edwin, we had one at Finn's nursery, was little baby Edwin. So I think it's really on trend. With Winnie being such a popular girl name, you can see why it's going up. I mean, would you use Edwina? Is Edwina going to come back for girls? We'll have to see next week. I'm so excited about this list. At 15 is the name Calvin, which went up 89 places to number 492 in the UK chart. Didn't realise Calvin was such a popular name 100 years ago as well. It feels quite modern to us, but it's got a really unfortunate name meaning where it means little bald one, so somebody with no hair, and that would have come from a characteristic of one of the people called Calvin way back when. So some of the names, when they have these name meanings like blind or bold, would have been their way to identify them, Calvin. But of course for us it's got more sort of Calvin Harris, kind of cool trendy vibes, Calvin Klein of course, so maybe that brand name puts people off, or maybe it's not being used for a while because of that. But a really cool name that I can see so many people liking. The next one, at number 14, is the name Milton. Milton has gone up 94 places. It's still only at number 4,608. So I've done this in order of how many spaces they've jumped. It actually is quite a gorgeous name, isn't it? It means mill town. So kind of occupational, like a miller. I really like the name Miller, Milton. What do you reckon? There's definitely a brand called Milton as well, which is baby brand, so that might be a bit more difficult. It's annoying when brands pinch a name. I know a Milton as well. I do, over in Sweden. Yeah, what do you reckon of Milton? I'm sort of getting on board with that one still. Edgar, a bit like Edwin, but Edgar as well went at 178 places to 878 in the UK chart. So 178 places in 1 year, really having its upswing. It is from meaning fortunate and spear. Again, so these all get a bit battly. Edgar, which do you prefer, Edgar or Edwin? I really do like both, actually. I don't mind. The next one I'm on the fence with. And number 12 is the name Russell. Russell is coming back. It went up 219 places last year. And is now at number 1,150. Really interesting to see Russell come back. It's actually French and it means red hairs. So we've seen like Rory and those things sort of stand the test of time, but Russell went really out of style, which is unusual because we do like the S's and the L sounds in our names. Nothing wrong with Russell. Again, it just, for me, again, it's just one of those things that just feels so, I don't know if I'm ready for Russell. I don't know if I'm ready for Russell, guys, but I can see it and I think it's quite sweet. Quite sweet that you could be Rush as a little nickname, or Russ. Isn't too bad, is it? At number 11, nearly in the top 10 of the names that are really back with a bang. And number 11 is Clyde. Talked about this before on the channel. It's up 324 places though, 1 year alone, to number 2,404. It's a Scottish river. It actually means warm and friendly, which is really nice, especially because we think of it, I don't know if you do, but I think of it as like Bonnie and Clyde. So really interesting. The Clyde flows through Glasgow. So a Glaswegian name, which is really nice if you've got Scottish heritage, but I really do like Clyde. Interesting to see it whizzing up. At number 10, top 10, 10 is Howard. Howard went up 412 places. It means bold heart. It's still only at number 2,076, but I really picked this one a while ago because I thought of Howie. I really do like Howie as a nickname. And I think Howard is a great name. I can really see that one booming. This next one is surprising. Number 9 is Dale. So you think about the Yorkshire Dales and all the nature names that we like. Dale has not been on my horizon, which is another nature that I like. It's at 412 places to 2,076. So really interesting when we think about the Dales, one syllable names, all loads of reasons to like Dale. And number 8, Roger. It's on its way back up the charts. It's at 438 places to 1,538 in the charts. So would you call your baby Roger? Would it make it onto a list? It means famous spearsman. At 7 is Wayne. So Wayne coming back, one syllable, Wayne, he's back. Just such a funny name, isn't it? One of the names that you just can't imagine coming back a few years ago, but it went up 543 places last year. In 1 year alone, it means wagon driver. So quite cool occupational name, isn't it? Again, nothing wrong with it with a Y. I'm a Sarah Jane, can't complain about a Wayne. And number 6 is Fred. Just by itself, Fred went up 579 spots. No, it went up 71 places to 579. German name, obviously the short form of Frederick, so meaning peaceful ruler. Interesting to see it just being as Fred. My son is Frederick, who goes by Freddie or Fred, depending. He's Freddie at school, Fred at home, Frederick to his sort of official, and I think he likes Frederick now, which is interesting. And number 5 is Gerald. Yep, baby Geralds are out there again. It went up 940 places to 1,548 last year. Again, it means ruler. A lot of these names meaning ruler must have just really gone out of style, but little Gerald is back. Definitely an offbeat choice. I reckon that these are hipsters, I reckon. And number 4 is Cecil, which I'm really chuffed about because my plant is called Cecil. Where is Cecil? In the front room. Went up 1,255 places. French actually means 6th child. So if you're lucky enough to be having your 6th child, you could go with Cecil for that reason. It also comes down from meaning blind as well. So another one of those where it would have been named after a characteristic. Really interesting name. I know that in America, do you say Cecil? We say Cecil. I think it's absolutely adorable. I liked Percy, I thought that was quite cute. At the moment it's a plant's name for me, but I can definitely get on board with it as a baby name. Number 3, I think this one's going to be huge. Oh, so does my phone. Is the name Earl. So I really like it. It went up 1,533 places just last year to number 2,404 in the UK charts. It means nobleman, so that's kind of the reason I think it'd be popular, because we're seeing these title names get really popular. So like Prince or King or those types of names, and Earl really stands alongside them. Knight, which is potentially what Kylie Jenner's called her. Baby Wolf, maybe we called Knight now, I don't know. But Earl, maybe she'll go with Earl. I'm on board with Earl for sure. And number 2, the second most biggest rising name from 100 years ago in today's charts is the name Wallace. Went up 1,709 places to 2,228 in the chart. Still really low, but it's the second fastest rising name back in the chart. It actually means foreigner, but I can see why that's back. I think that's dead trendy. Wallace really works for me. Number one, the name from 100 years ago that's got it the most to get back into today's charts is Norman. Yes, we did a whole podcast episode called Bring Back Norman, Are We Ready for Norman or something, because somebody was really after that name, and they were right, it is back in the charts. It went up 1,861 places last year. Now it's at number 2,076, so it's back in the charts. It means man from the north, and apparently it was originally Scandinavian, and it would be when the Scandinavians invaded Normandy, they were called Norman because they were the men from the north. Interesting. So that's where we got Norman. Thanks for that. They all got quite cool names, like Thor, and we were like Norman. But yeah, interesting that is back with a bang. What do you think of that list? I'm going to really quickly tell you the 4 that were totally unranked and have gone back into the chart. So this was, I went through, as I said at the beginning, all of the top 100 names from 100 years ago and saw where they were ranked, and some had gone into the chart. So Elmer was totally unranked, but there were 4 baby Elmers last year. Leicester, there were 4 baby Leicesters last year, and it had been totally out of the ranks. Glenn, there were 4 babies named Glenn last year, and you have to sort of be 3 or above to really show in the charts. And then Ken. There were 4 baby Kens last year, which is super sweet. Evelina will be thrilled, my daughter, because she loves Barbie and Ken. So those were the 100-year-old names that are really having their resurgence right now in the charts. I so enjoyed doing that research. It just was surprising me the whole time. I had to put all 100 names in, see which ones were up. So I really hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know your favourite from this list. Also really want you to head over to the Peanut app, where I have our baby name envy consultancy. Doors are flung open for any wannabe baby name consultants. You can come over there and answer a ton of real life dilemmas from the 2.5 million women who are on the Peanut app. So we have our own closed community, not closed, but you join it, and it's called Baby Name Envy Consultancy, and you will see daily dilemmas which you can reply to and give baby name advice, because I know so many of you wanting to be getting involved in being baby name consultants, and I really want to help you on your dream of doing that. It was my dream, and I love being a baby name consultant. It is literally the best job in the world. So if you want to join the agency, just download the Peanut app. I will pop a link below. It's free to download, free to join the consultancy, and then you can just be on there with me most days, answering real life name dilemmas. The podcast is out as well, and don't forget to hit subscribe for the girl version of this list. Can we even wait? I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.